In the previous video, we looked at stylistic aspects of programming in Python, which will help us to keep our code easy to read. In this video, we switch gears and look at version control, which will help us to collaborate with other programmers and serves as an undo buffer for the whole lifetime of a project. Version control is one of the fundamental tools for programmers in the modern world. It helps us with almost every aspect of a project in one way or another. There are many version control systems, and each of them is a topic in itself. So we're going to narrow our focus here and talk about how to do a few particularly useful things using a specific version control system called JIT. The first thing we need to do to use JIT, after installing it, of course, is to set up a folder as a JIT repository. That only takes a couple commands on the command line after we move to the folder where we want the repository to be, JIT init and JIT add. Once we've initialized the repository, we add any files that we've already created to it with JIT add. And then we create our first save point in the code with JIT command -a. The -a commit command tells JIT to commit all the changes that have been made. In the future, if we add new files to the project, we should also use JIT add to tell JIT to start tracking them. Anytime we want JIT to remember the current state of our project, we run JIT commit -a again. The nice thing about having old project states saved away is that we could go back to them. If we want to revert a file to a previous state, undoing everything we've done to that file, since a particular commit, we just use the JIT log command to find the identifier for that commit. And then we use JIT checkout to undo our changes. If we later change our mind, we can redo the changes in the same way. The ability to undo on the project level is great, but it's even more useful to make provisional changes to our code and then decide once the changes are done whether or not we really want them in our main code. That's what branches are for. We can make a new branch with JIT checkout -b, which will create the branch and switch to it automatically. When we're in the branch, any code changes we make are associated with the branch, and when we leave the branch, they go away. Then, when we re-enter the branch, they come back. That means we can work on bug fixes in our main branch, while we work on new features in their own development branches. When we're finally happy with a feature, we can merge it into the main branch. To merge code from a different branch, all we have to do is use the JIT merge command from inside the branch we're merging to, and give it the name of the branch we're merging from. If the two branches cannot be automatically combined, JIT will do it for us. That's usually all there is to it, but sometimes there are overlapping changes, both branches, and when that happens, JIT knows it's not smart enough to handle the merger on its own. When we run JIT merge, it will notify us that there are conflicts. Then we can use JIT merge tool to start up an interface that lets us use our greater intelligence to resolve the conflict. Once that's done, we use JIT commit to finalize our changes. Merge tool is a smart command that looks for several different tools that exist on various operating systems and picks one of them that hopes is the best choice for you. In this case, it has picked a tool called meld, which is also written in Python indecently for me to use to fix the ambiguity. JIT could do something very similar to combine code from other repositories into our own. The command for that is JIT pull rather than JIT merge, and instead of a branch name, we provide the URL or path name to a different repository. But otherwise, it functions in the same way. This is an incredibly useful feature because it allows us to easily collaborate with other coders, both locally and around the world. In this video, we learned enough about JIT to get some big benefits from using it. In the next video, we're going to look at Python's built-in virtual environment tool, Venv.